My name is Jillberry Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center, and your host of the NMC Health Beat Show, dedicated to discussing important healthcare topics. On today's show, I'll be talking to NMC's Kristen Hughes, who has been with us just over a year at the hospital. Kristen is the coordinator of the Healthy Roots program. And I don't know about you, but I'm very interested to find out what is the Healthy Roots program. So Kristen, welcome to the show today.
Good morning. Healthy Roots is actually a regional emerging food system that supports the growers and producers in Franklin and Grand Isle counties. As the collaborative, we provide programs and services that will help educate our consumers and increase access to local fresh food. Mm-hmm. We also work on market development and network development for those growers and producers. And our final focus is infrastructure enhancements. So what can we do to really support the infrastructure for those growers and producers?
Wow, that's a lot. So you mentioned program and services, so I caught some phrases in there, and I'm like, okay, we're going to dive into some of this stuff.
What do we do?
So what are the programs and services that you're referring to?
So some of the ones I'll highlight today, we provide a year-round online regional farmers market, and this is an opportunity for our farmers to sell their products and their items after the farmers market season, as well as throughout the summer. Gives them an additional place to be able to connect with their customers. Mm-hmm. It also gives our customers an opportunity to continue buying from the farmers that they've been visiting at the St. Albans Farmers Market or the Enosburg Farmers Market throughout the year. The nice opportunity too is that it's an online market, so folks can order at 11 o'clock on a Thursday night and still be able to connect and order locally from their farmer.
Wow.
We also run a community cold storage site in East Fairfield. And this is key. This is something that our local growers and producers were looking for. It provides them an opportunity to store their products so that later in the season they can sell it if they need to. For example, somebody would like to store their potatoes and sell them closer to November and December. It gives that farmer an opportunity to store them in a safe, climate-controlled area where he can then sell his potatoes later on in the year. The nice thing about the community cold storage site is that it's also open to individuals. So if you grew a bumper crop of carrots, or if you wanted to buy a half of a cow and you don't have the freezer space for that, we have the ability to put that there for you too. So you can access your local fresh food whenever you want.
Wow.
Yeah. So on the education side, the Healthy Roots Collaborative really works with our community events, and we try to embed local food in the community events that we host or that we work with. So what does that mean? That means at the Taylor Park concerts this summer, we had farmers that were cooking their own food and serving it to customers right there.
Oh, wow.
So it not only gave the folks a chance to be able to eat local food, but also talk with the farmer about their practice and what they offer and their products, really making that connection one-on-one with the individual farmers in our area. We also are working on a gleaning network.
Okay, you have my curiosity.
All right, so gleaning is redirecting our food from what could typically be a waste stream towards the consumers that would need it most. And we are lucky enough to have Hannah Baxter, an AmeriCorps member, coming on this week who will help strengthen that gleaning network. So she's going to work with our farmers, with our farmers markets, and any of the additional produce that they might be taking home. Maybe it's damaged, maybe the farmer just needs to move the field on to plant something else. She's going to take that food and redirect it towards our food shelves. And to complement that, she's also going to design and implement some education programs at those recipient sites, at those food shelves, to work with the consumers about how to eat local fresh food. What do you do with a rutabaga? What do you do with a turnip that's coming in here too? So give them an opportunity to kind of learn how to use this different food and what to do with it and how to store it. And finally, our last service that we're working on right now is funded by the Vermont Community Foundation Farm and Food Initiative, and we are working with our Farm to School coordinator for the Northwest Corner, that's Rachel Huff, and she's going to work with some of our area schools about getting our food service to be able to purchase locally from those farmers. In the northwest corner, we do a really good job with farm to school education. We have kids that visit farms on field trips. They write letters to farmers, and the farmers correspond. So we want to be able to support the kitchen actually serving the food in the kitchen or in the cafeteria where the kids are at school. So she's going to work with our schools on an individual basis to help them prioritize what they want to purchase locally and how to do that.
Wow.
A couple of things.
You're busy.
A little busy.
But I can feel your passion about it as well.
It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it every moment.
Yeah. Now, what about partnerships? I'm sure you're doing this by some networking.
We are. We have a wonderful, wonderful local formal and informal organizations that we work with. Several years ago, the Franklin County Industrial Corporation, the Grand Isle Workforce Investment Board, and Northwest Regional Planning put their heads together and said, we have a growing diversified ad sector in this area. How can we support them economically? What can we do to make sure that this sector continues to grow? And they started hosting, on a volunteer basis, community events. We had the Dock of the Bay Festival when the Lois McClure came into town, and we helped Hannah Noel up in the Gore Road Festival that supported some of those folks up there. And then we also initiated the first In Good Taste sampling event, which brought together a bunch of vendors so folks could actually talk to our farmers and taste their food. And that organization or that committee morphed into a steering committee for myself with the Healthy Roots coordinator right now. So those three organizations, in addition to, and I hope I don't leave anybody out, the South Hero Land Trust, the Lake Champlain Islands Ag Network, the Farm Bureau, Notch, and of course NMC, are now serving as a steering committee for the Healthy Roots Collaborative. So we've got these 9 different organizations that are supporting the work.
Wow.
And everybody, we work with individual partners. Friends of Northern Lake Champlain has been a great community organization to work with because they work with farmers anyways. So any of the events that they host, we're able to support her with providing local food and connecting her with farmers who will serve that food.
That's
Couple different
great.
things there.
Well, I can feel your passion and your interest. So what's your background and what kind of led you to this venue?
Selfishly, I love where I live. So I want to ensure that our community and that where my kids are growing up and where my family resides holds the same values and holds that same sense of community going forward. And my original background is actually I taught public school in Cleveland Municipal Schools for 4th graders traditionally, and spent a lot of time with kids, and I love teaching. And then when my family and I moved to Vermont, I became the town librarian in the town where I live. And the wonderful thing about being the town librarian is that you get to work and live in the same community where you are. And I recognized how much impact a person could make or what you could contribute to your community when you were there. So this is a similar role, being able to really value work towards what I value in our community. And that's where we are and the working lands that we have and the food that we eat and the people that live here. So,
wow, very impressive.
well, thank you.
All right, so when you think about goals and successes, so maybe identify some of the successes, and then what do you anticipate? What goals do you have for this program?
Right. We primarily focus on 3 areas. As I mentioned before, working on embedding local food and community events as part of our education and outreach. So we are striving to ensure that the eaters in the northwest corner know what products and what farmers are here right in this area. So we do that through our community events, and just this summer alone, that's our numbers. We've reached over 1,500 folks by serving them local food, and in some of those events, again, we've had the farmers flipping burgers that were actually they were eating, or we've had our salads being served by the woman who actually grows the greens in there.
Yeah.
So it's a nice opportunity to connect there. So we will continue to strive to reach every consumer in Franklin and Grand Isle County so that they know what the bounty is that we have right here. We also want to increase the sales to institutions of local food, so institutions, schools, hospitals, nursing homes, those kind of establishments. And we're going to work through Rachel and through myself to directly connect with some of those institutions here and give them opportunities to be able to connect with farmers and educate them on how they actually would purchase. It's a little bit different for an institution to purchase bushels of apples from a farmer directly than it is to have to purchase it from a distributor. So it takes a little extra work on their side. And then we will continue to strive to work on the infrastructure improvements. The cold storage facility has been a great asset, and we've added users this summer over and over again. We are looking for underwriters for the cold storage facilities, so if anybody is interested in supporting that endeavor, they can feel free to contact me there too. But we'll listen to our farmers and see what their needs are as far as what they need to be able to grow their markets.
So how is this all made possible? What's your funding source?
So we have a variety of funding sources right now. Initially, the Healthy Roots Coordinator, myself, was funded by the Healthy People Strong Communities Initiative, which was a project of Northwest Regional Planning, and that was a grant that both the hospital and Franklin County Industrial Corporation received just over a year ago. And that grant funded the position. The cold storage site also received money from the same initiative to renovate and update and improve the facility. So that Healthy People Strong Communities funding really invested some money into the growing of the diversified ag movement in the Northwest corner. We recently received funding from the Vermont Community Foundation, as I mentioned, to support our farm to institution work. So that's going to help pay for some Rachel time to be able to directly connect with our staff there. And we recently received some funding, or at least from capacity building from AmeriCorps program. So the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board is able, we earned or we're hosting an AmeriCorps member to be able to do some of the gleaning work there too. And currently, as the grant funding is running out, the hospital has graciously taken on my position. So their NMC is going to be able to support the work of the coordinator, and we will continue building capacity in each section as we kind of go along.
That's terrific.
Yes, it's been a lot of work, or a lot of building over the last year.
You know, when you think about it, it makes so much sense. I think you're part of the lifestyle medicine department, correct? And you might talk a little bit about how that makes sense. And then you've got the Rise Vermont, which is the community initiative to embrace healthy lifestyles. And so it is so much not only just about, exercise, but it's so much about diet. And then how do you access the right things? So it just seems to be such a working together at all levels, comprehensive. That wrap around.
Yeah, NMC is an authority on health and wellness in this area, and we recognize the idea and the impact that good food has on your individual diet. So with Healthy Roots, we can focus on making sure that local, fresh, nutrient-dense food gets to all of our residents. NMC also recognizes that as an employer and as an institution, they are a large impact on our regional economy. You're buying a lot of food, you're employing a lot of people. So we're able to impact the regional economy through this job, and we're able to make sure that folks get local fresh food, and it's kind of a marriage of both of those priorities for the hospital.
Yeah, that is.
Rise is a nice compliment too, right? Because how we work with Rise is Doris and her team does a wonderful job as far as referring businesses and individuals and institutions. So as they are meeting with these organizations, those organizations are saying, we have an interest in supporting local food. What do we do? So Dory will be able to refer those organizations to Healthy Roots, and we will give them some ideas as far as maybe you want a community garden. Let's contact the Community Garden Network. Maybe you want a CSA at work. Let's give you some options for those farms that might provide a CSA at work. So it's a nice matchmaking.
Excellent, excellent. So we're getting close to time, but is there any barriers that you want to quickly mention that the viewers or the hospital can help you with to keep this going?
I think our biggest barrier is more of an abstract kind of concept here. It's the idea that eating good food takes some time. It's much easier to order a pizza. It's much easier to pick up takeout. But really what we want folks to think about is to be thoughtful about the food that they're choosing to purchase, prepare, and serve. and understand that it's going to take a little bit more time to prepare good food, and just take the thoughtful approach. Be thoughtful about your food.
Excellent. Well, that is a great closing message. So thank you so much, Kristen, for being with us today to talk about the importance of eating healthy and living healthy.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. This is Jill Bowen, your host of the NMC Health Beat Show. Thank you so much for joining us today. And just take one step to live a little bit healthier, to choose something local.